up here pretty slow. The last time I spoke out of graduation, I was in 5th grade and I tripped on the way up to the stairs, so just bear with me here. Good morning, faculty, staff, distinguished guests, regular guest, distinguished educators, Mr. Wynn, Ms. Disher, friends and family, and what's up, LSA class of 2019? LSA class of 19, or a class of how many times Mrs. V had to yell, "Stop talking, please," to our oratory class. It is truly my honor to speak in front of you on this remarkable day. I can't believe we're about to peace out of this place and become LSA alumni. I woke up this morning so stoked, thinking that I was graduating high school, but then I realized I was graduating from the LSA, and we still have a week to go, so crap. But it's now that I wish that this last week could be another 4 more years, because I don't know if I'm really ready to say goodbye to you guys just yet. Tissues? Okay, 4 years ago, I did one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life. Join the LSA. And a few months after that, I did the second scariest thing out of my life. Pick up a cockroach from Mrs. Shoemake's room. And today, I'm doing the third scariest thing out of my life, talking in front of 300-something people. You're probably wondering how I got here, or maybe not, but I've got 10 minutes on the stage, so you better sit tight. The first day of my freshman year, I rode the bus and put my book bag down to my left so nobody would sit next to me because I really hated interacting with people and I was not a morning person. I'm still not, but I'm improving. As I was on my phone, I looked up and I saw this boy with a checkered sweater and some glasses on nudge me, and I could sense him saying, "Could I sit here?" Out of all the seats on this bus, the boy had the audacity to sit next to me, when my book bag was clearly showing I did not want the seat to be shared. But before I could do anything, he slid my book bag right over and sat next to me. I was mad, to say the least, and I thought that my first day of high school was going really bad. Then, next thing you know, the same annoying kid ended up being in 2 out of my 4 classes that same day. Looking right at you. And the same kid sat next to me in my intro to law class because of her last names. As you can see, I could not get away from this kid, so I had no choice but to talk to him. And let me tell you, him sitting next to me on that bus is one of the best things that has ever happened to me. Aww. Because of that, I not only have a best friend to rely on for homework answers, but a brother. We shared some of our toughest and our cringiest times together from freshman year in band class all the way to senior project. So, thank you, Christian. I think each and every one of us has a story just like this. Unexpectedly meeting someone through the LSA who has changed your life. And now, with that, we move on to our separate ways. For the past 3 years, I was in the audience, sitting where you are right now, listening to someone else deliver this speech, and never in a million years did I ever think I was going to be here for our class's law day graduation. And when Mrs. Phillips asked me to speak here today, during prom night 2 weeks ago while I was dancing to some Cardi B, my first thought was, and then my second thought was, will I be tall enough for the podium? But here I am, in 2-inch wedges, just in case. And here you are, LSA class of 2019, crossing the imaginary, metaphorical finish line. This 4-year race has been a challenge. We have survived ridiculous internet trends such as Bird Box and the In My Feelings challenge. Disclaimer, nobody will ever know if Kiki really loves you. We've survived getting an egg to be the most liked picture on Instagram. 19-year-old beauty gurus breaking YouTube. FBI agents watching through our phones right now. And Tide Pods. Who can forget about Tide Pods? We've survived serious cases of the infamous senioritis, 50-hour internships, getting whooped at the Harvard mock trial, a 15-page research paper, procrastinating the night before that 15-page research paper was due, Caitlin being the worst when she's really the best, Mr. Naki's unhealthy desire for Doritos. Seriously, Mr. Naki? Lanessa, Lovey, Shalonda's raps in Leland's class, having the class yell, "Ooh," when Mrs. Phillips calls you down to her office, rough days in the lab, Emily's sun poisoning on her lips, Mrs. Disher escorted out by Tommy during the Lord of the Flies trial, Nadia's hypochondria in English class, David just being David, Joe wearing flip-flops even when it's 2 degrees outside, asking Mr. Pratt to buy cookies on Cookie Friday and him only saying yes if you could give him one, and of course, a snake in my boot, Mr. Wynn. Through it all, we stuck together, not only as a class, but as a family. But we couldn't have done it alone. Thank you to our parents. Mom and Dad, I couldn't have done this without you. Thank you to Mrs. Phillips for being everyone's second mother and for believing in me. And thank you to the amazing faculty and staff for helping us become the students we are today. It's hard to realize from this point forward we won't have a Mrs. Phillips to come and save us from our teachers, or Mrs. Hill to call us baby. We're not babies anymore. To Mrs. Hill, I guess we'll be toddlers, but to the world, we are adults now. Certainly, our parents have a lot to be proud of. I mean, Dad, just think, wherever you are, in a few months I'll be off to college and you can do something you've been waiting for a long time.
Yes.
Turn the now empty bedroom for the room for the dogs. You're welcome in advance. On a more serious note, our class has accomplished more than most. I mean, who can brag about all the scholarship money we accumulated, volunteer hours we dedicated to our community, state championships we brought home in the process of bringing home, all the school records casing feet, and all the vocab quizzes we failed in Raj's class. From our awkward freshman selves to prom merely 2 weeks ago, we've grown up. Well, most of us have. And now we're entering adulthood and we're about to do very useful adult things, such as reciting the quadratic formula, doing rhetorical analysis on a passage from Dr. Seuss, and figuring out how many neutrons are in potassium. There are 19. Don't worry, Miss Beazle and Miss Mason. Contrary to popular belief, I did learn something in chemistry in AP Chem. As I said, very useful adult stuff. However, the LSA truly did prepare us for many things, but these 4 years could never prepare us to say our goodbyes today. Now, as we do take on our separate paths after we cross the stage, we can always look back at the one thing that unites us all, the Legal Studies Academy. I had trouble writing this speech because in the past, this was supposed to be a reflection on an individual's journey in the LSA, but talking about myself isn't like me. I've grown to love talking about other people's accomplishments, so I thought this year this would be our speech, #StayHumble. Because I would have had the guts to come up here and say this if it weren't for your guys' support. Also, before all this, I didn't know how these kinds of speeches would go. But through Google, I saw that speeches like this would follow a pretty simple formula. A story followed by some advice, which I don't get because how am I supposed to give you guys advice when I had to use Google to write this? But here goes nothing. If I could give you all one piece of advice after all this, it's to continue to step out of your comfort zone just like you've been doing these past 4 years. Have the anticipation to try new things as much as we all refresh BB School's Twitter every 5 seconds to see if we had a snow day. Or in this year's case, a hurricane that got us out of school for 4 days. Take Miles, for instance, who saw a flaw in Pat the Patriot, and now he's iconic for being the school's new mascot and has improved our school spirit since. Thank you, Miles. And as I end this speech, I can see how much I've grown from joining the academy. Being an only child, all I wished for was a sibling to talk to and mess around with. But after my 4 years here, I found something better than what I asked for, a bunch of eternal friendships. I would have been able to speak in front of an auditorium full of people if it weren't for the LSA and my friends who supported me. I can also see how much I'm really going to miss you guys. We walked these halls the past 4 years together, enduring all the chaotic bell changes, but despite the pushing and the shoving between the intersection and the math and science hallway, we always found a way to wave at each other and smile. And hopefully in 10 years, when we stumble into each other in a coffee shop during our lunch break from our very successful $1 million jobs, we'll still be able to wave and smile with our iPhone 17s in one hand and our 6th edition of Barron's Law Dictionary we got at freshman orientation in the other. worked hard for these 4 years to get this medal put around our neck, but medal or not, we'll always have the memories and friendships we gained through the LSA. Cherish this moment because you all deserve it. It has been my honor to speak to you today. I love you, Mom and Dad, and the family from Alabama and Philippines, and